So I'm going to go ahead and get started with website basics. Let me go ahead and play this little presentation. Sorry, forgot about this. I didn't get this ready. And in particular, the websites we're going to cover is what we call our Team ASEA, our replicating website. And the second would be the virtual office or the back office. And the third would be the ASEA corporate website that's actually public. It's for everybody, not just people who join ASEA. It's for customers and people looking at ASEA. And then we're going to touch on a few of the associate produced support sites. So the Team ASEA website is, I don't know if you can see the address at the top. It's pretty small. But in our case, it's LiveWell is our username, .teamasea.com. So it's username.teamasea.com. You can also use your ID number in place of your username. And that'll get you to a website that is replicating in the sense that it looks the same for everybody who has joined ASEA. However, it is customized to you to you can put your picture in it, you can put your text in it, and anything that's done through this website, like joining and buying, this is the website you might have on your business card or at the bottom of your email. And it's a website that the primary purpose of it is where people can join with you as an ASEA associate, or they can buy product from you. And anything done through this website is attributed to you, to the person whose website they enter in through. The buying and joining is attributed automatically to that person. And because of that, if you send someone to your Team ASEA website, you want to make sure they get to your website and not someone else's. Sometimes people might go and put your what the address you gave them. They might put that into Google, for example, or some search engine, and they'll end up on someone's advertisement site instead of on yours. So bottom line is make sure they see your name, whatever name that would be. If you have a picture, of course, that's pretty straightforward. So make sure they see what your information. As an example, I'm going to just do a little typo here and say they did a typo. And didn't spell it right. They'll end up on someone else's website, in which case if they join or buy, it would be attributed to this other person. So let me go back to our website. I'm not going to go into detail on this. If you haven't looked through it, you do. There's lots of information here, but it's not the best organized. We don't normally send people here to find out about ASEA because the menus are a little complicated, but it's still lots of good information. Primarily what we're looking at here is joining and buying. And I'm going to do this really, really quick because it's pretty straightforward, but let's just click buy, which implies being a customer. And you can see initially right off the bat, they have a choice of being a preferred or a retail customer. And it describes exactly what the differences are between those two. And I'm just going to click submit. Well, not yet, but I'm going to assume I'm a preferred customer because that's what most people are. But also this is a way that your customers can sign into their little miniature back office where they can actually change their auto ship. They can start it, they can stop it, they can change whatever where it gets mailed to. They can do all that over the computer without talking to a support. So it's a sign into their back office. But I'm going to click submit here at the top to join as a preferred customer. And you have choice of countries. And this is the same as joining for an associate, the same flow and format. And what I want to show you is in countries, let's see, Singapore now should be in here. Yeah, so here's Singapore, the brand new opening for Singapore, and Hong Kong should be up there. But there's also an other at the bottom. So that actually doesn't really count if they're joining as a customer because they don't ship to other countries. So really that other belongs if you're joining as an associate. Let me see if Hong Kong's, yeah, there's Hong Kong. Okay, so any case, choose your country. I'm going to keep United States. When you're in the United States, you can either ship your order or you can click on these little, well, you can click anywhere in the box, but I like to assume you click on a caret. Yeah, I call it a caret. And you get a drop down, and you can actually have no shipping charges if you want to go to the Salt Lake City headquarters and you can pick up your own product, and you don't get charged shipping if you do that. So any case, I'm going to click next. Now, the one thing about these screens is sometimes the next may be down below and you have to scroll down if you're on a small screen. So just be aware of that. And I'm not sure exactly why it does this. We've tried to get this corrected, but it actually, again, if you want to be a preferred customer, which I do, let me just click yes. So here we are. It's pretty straightforward. It gives you the choices you can do as a preferred customer. You click on the boxes and it expands the choices. And then you click on the choice you want and you can view the details and actually do it. You can choose it. So in this case, for example, I clicked on the 4-case bottles. I can increase the amount of bottles. Again, these little carets for people who are not familiar with that, the drop downs. And let's just say we want 2 cases. You add it to the cart, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what I want to do is show you something here. This is the same if you're joining as an associate, but right now you see the shopping cart says 0. When I say add to cart, now it's going to say 1, which is actually 2 cases, but I can click on the cart and it shows what's in there. So it's a quantity of 2 cases of bottles. You can edit that, you can remove it, the small writing there, but it's very user friendly in that regards. You can see we're moving along steps at the top here, and you can go back to previous steps, or basically you can't jump ahead. You have to do next. So I think that's all I want to say here. So next, and that was the first order, and this is again the same as if you're joining as an associate. You have a very first order that's going to ship immediately, and then you have, as a preferred customer, you're required to have auto ship to get the discount. So basically, the auto ship is going to ship in 30 days, and somewhere it'll say that. It says that at the end. So bottom line is you choose your auto ship the same way. You can click on the box. It gives you the choices. Click on the choice you want to look at the details. And when you do that, you can add it to the cart. Okay, now it's actually saying 2 up in the cart. But remember, actually, I think it says it here. Yeah. So remember, the auto ship order will not ship until 30 days later, and that's spelled out here underneath. Okay, so that's pretty much it. As I click next, it's going to ask for information. The one thing I will say is, and see here, I'm a customer. I'm like Joe customer coming in through our website. And you can see here now it's attributed to us as a sponsor of the customer. Now, the only thing I'm going to say here is asterisks are required. I can't highlight the asterisks, but some of these have asterisks. They are required. If there's not an asterisk, it's not required. That's pretty straightforward. A customer actually gets a username and a password to get into their back office. And I'm not going to go into detail on joining as an associate, but the associate has a few more options or things that are required. They have a tax number required, et cetera. Or maybe I'll go real quick to it. But you fill in all this information, you click next, and it gets into the credit card information, et cetera. And then a final check, a review of the order and submit order. So it's pretty straightforward. I like to go through that with people just so they, when they're working with their people and their customers, they know what to do. They're familiar with the website. So you can tell your people what to do. And I'm going to click on join here now, which actually somebody has a question there. That's right. I forgot to ask. If you do have questions, you can either unmute yourself or you can go to chat. Let me see what that question is in the chat. Oh, okay, communications corporate of my sponsor. We'll get into that here in a second, Emily, when I get into this. So now I'm going in as joining as an associate. Now those other countries come into play. Let me just mention that briefly. If I click on other, and these are the countries that are not open yet. ASEA is not shipping to them, but they want to track what's going on with these countries. So I know we have some people in, well, Costa Rica, I think might be open. It should move to the other one here pretty soon. But say, I know we have some people in Kazakhstan in our downline, down under a bunch of levels down. So let's choose that. Hmm. And it's just asking me again. I don't know why it does that. Shipping country. So that's why, because these other countries, there's no shipping to it. We have to choose a shipping country. So by default, it's going to say United States. So let's just go ahead and click enroll as an associate now, as opposed to a customer. So here we are. Now we're in Kazakhstan. It has Kazakhstan type address available. The only reason for this is not for shipping again. ASEA will not ship to these countries that are not part of the ASEA network yet. You can see again, it's this new person joining is attributed to us. This has extra stuff you need. You need birth date. And where is that email thing? And here's where it shows you your username dot. In this case, ASEA Global Reach is used for other countries. So normally this would be teamasea.com. But for people in other countries, the website's called ASEA Global Reach. It's a little bit different. All right. And so down here is what I think was Emily asked. So typically I would click yes for both of these. Corporate communications is emails from corporate. It talks about conference calls, webinars, specials. You definitely want to be on this list. And it's going to send it to the email you provide here, up above here somewhere. Whatever email you put in under this application, here it is, under email here, it's going to, corporate will send those to. At this point, communications from your sponsor and upline, that's not really working too well. Well, I mean, it may be working, but people don't really use that. And there is actually a place within the back office I'll show you. So you can click yes or you can click no, but we're not really using this communications from upline too much at this point. There's a place in the back office you can do that. So that's all I wanted to show you here. Let me see what these other chats were. 1 second. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you don't want to get a lot of emails, you can turn them off if you don't want to have emails coming to you. So that's all I wanted to show you here. I'm going to go back to the Team ASEA website. And the other thing on the Team ASEA website that you want to know about is the login up here. And here's how you can log into your back office, your virtual office. So we went through the Team ASEA website, the one you might have on your business card or on your bottom of your emails. Now we're going to go to the back office. And I already have that logged in actually over here somewhere. 1 second. So I'm going to go to it. So when you click on that login, this is the website that you use. This is now the back office, the virtual office. You log into it. This is not, this is for you, for your business. You don't give it to your customers or to your prospects. You may share the login information with your upline or your mentor, and that way they can help you navigate through, etc. You can always go and change your password as you wish. So what I'm going to do here is not, this is not a back office training. This is like a quick overview of it, and it's only going to be a few minutes. The people that were on at the beginning, I have changed the schedule here. Actually, let me show you. So over these next weeks, week 3 and 4, I'm going to get into detail on the back office reportings. But for now, we're not. I'm going to point out probably the top 5 items of the back office right now, and that's all. In particular, these items along the top here are very important. But let me just show you the menu bar. I have this hidden here a little bit, but here's a menu you can see up here. And it's the bars. That's the industry standard nowadays for what a menu looks like. And you can click up here and you have a drop-down menu again. And within each of these subcategory, like under reports, you can click on the drop-down and you have all these different reports you can choose. Now, some of these reports are up in that top menu I showed you at the beginning, but all I'm going to do at this point is point out the primary ones and give you maybe 1 or 2 tips. Let me open up the binary placement tree. That's a good one to know about. And as you're starting to earn money and stuff, you'll want to know about these reports, the commission reports. The dashboard we're going to touch on briefly. Director 300 report you definitely want to know about as you're getting closer to bronze, as well as the executive momentum pool. I'm just reading through these reports. This is actually a very good report in the auto ship reports. We'll go into those in the detail back office things, but they're good as your businesses for any stage of business to see how people are doing on auto ships, et cetera. Unless you're just talking to them, you can talk to them. Rank advancements, very good report as your group's getting bigger and you want to track things. And volume totals, again, another good report as your group's getting bigger. So I'm just pointing out some highlights. In the detail webinars, we'll get into details. Resources you want to know about. Library, I'm going to go ahead and open that up briefly. And here's the messages where right now it's not being used very much, but you can get, when it is used, there may be some messages in here for you. But corporate messages will go to your email that you put in. Not upline won't. Upline messages only would go in here, but corporate emails are sent to your email. Recognition is fun to look into. My Business. Here's where you can change how your Team ASEA replicating website looks right here under website. You can change what contact info shows. You can change the wording, put up a picture, etc. And under My Business should be where you can place a new order yourself. A very, very good thing to know about, of course, is managing your auto ship. And the other thing is new enrollment. So if I clicked on new enrollment, it's going to bring up the exact same process we just went through on the Team ASEA websites. And it's going to be exactly the same. Now, here's what I'm going to say. There's 3 ways to enroll a person. One is through your Team ASEA website, actually 4 ways. One is through your Team ASEA site. 2 is right here. And this is exactly the same as through your Team ASEA site, except you're doing it through your back office. So you might have gathered their person's information and brought it home and you gathered it on paper and you brought it home, and now you're entering the person in here. The third way is through the binary graphics report, which I'm going to show you in a second. It was up here, is a third way to join. Now, what I want to say is these first two ways, the person's placed on your left or right according to preferred placements. And again, I'm breezing through these because I'll get into more detail in these detail back office webinars. But here's placement preferences. So if a person comes in through your Team SIA website, they're going to be placed on the very outside left of your binary or on the very outside right of your binary, according to what you have set here. The default is balanced, which works very, very well and is good for 95% of the cases. So yeah, we only have about 5 minutes left officially on this. So again, the details of these will be in the detail reports. So let's see, or detail webinars. Change your password. A lot of good information here on what to do. You can edit all your account, your personal information. This password is for this website, for your back office. So that's that. Let me look at the things I opened up here. Okay, so here is binary placement tree. I'm going to show you a couple things. One, initially it's only 3 levels and it's hard to see things if you got more people. So you can change, if you click on this, you can do bird's eye view. And that is very useful if I can get to it. Doesn't want to go. There it goes. Come on. There we go. That was a little touchy there. By the way, let me tell you this, if I could do it right now, I'm going to click this site feedback on the right side here. And this is something you can do anytime when you're, because all this back office is new as of a month or 2 ago. And if there are little glitches like that, it knows exactly what page you're in. So this one probably won't get, it's not top priority, but I'm going to click send. And basically it's a quick way of just giving feedback. And over time, the more important ones they'll do quicker, but over time they'll fix things. So that's site feedback on the right side here. Okay, so this is a bird's eye view, which is good as your group gets bigger. And let's just go and say we have 22 levels, which lo and behold, is a great thing, but at the same time, it can be harder to keep track of. So this binary graphic tree is really, really good for keeping track of things. Now I'm going to show you a couple tips. This is actually the same as the old back office. As you put your mouse over top, it shows who the person is. And if you click on the circle, it brings up a detail thing. I'm not going to do that because it's kind of personal info, but it brings up a box showing more detail info on the person that you're clicking on. It won't show if they're not in your personal group though. It'll just show their name, and it won't show phone numbers and stuff unless they're your first level. But so here's your tree. You can scroll up and down. Well, hopefully it would be your tree. Maybe you don't have a tree like this yet, but you can use the scroll bars to scroll up and down. But the other thing you can do is put your mouse anywhere inside here and you can pan. It's called panning. You click and you can pan. So I'm clicking and then moving my mouse, and it's called panning. You can pan up and down and all around through your thing, through your binary tree. So a nice little feature. Now here's the trick, because we talk about bottom left, bottom right. So let's see if I can get to the bottom left here. See, I'm having trouble getting to the bottom left. It won't go. And the part of the reason is because I'm not all the way scrolled down. See, now I'm all the way scrolled down. And here I am at the bottom left, and I see it's continuing down further. I'm not really at the bottom left. So here's a second trick. If you, lo and behold, you have the, so you have to work in conjunction with the scroll bars as well as panning. So lo and behold, if you have the situation where you can't reach the bottom of your tree, you got like bottom left here, and you got bottom right here. So for example, let's just click on bottom right. And that's going to take me right down. It's interesting. It's a little bit out of whack, but I assume this is the bottom right. This guy should be over here. Right? I'm not going to do it now, but I would submit some feedback. Yeah. So what I did is clicked on that, and it's actually going to, and this is the third way you can enroll a person. It's actually going to enroll the person right in that exact spot that I clicked on. So any of these gray circles, you can actually enroll a person in your back office. And all I'm going to say is this, I'll get into more detail in the detail webinars, but don't use this unless you know what you're doing, because there mistakes can be made. And the binary basics webinar is a good one to learn about how to place people in the binary. So don't use this method of enrolling people unless you know what you're doing, is the point. You can click on these little arrows to go up a level, or you can go back up to the top somewhere. Should be back to the top. Reset tree here. All right. And I can just go right to the bottom left too if I want now. Yeah, these graphics. You know what? It might be because of the zoom level, I'll bet. No, yeah, the graphics are a little screwy. I think it's working right. This is left, this is right, but I'm going to submit that later. Okay, so that's the binary tree. Oh, the other thing I like about this is you can search for people. And I like this feature because, at least it used to, if you hit search, it'll come up with options of all the people who have Ellen in it, for example. So I like that. If you can't quite remember a person's name, I love that search option. Type the name in, you have to click search, and then you choose the one you want. And so, for example, if I choose this person, now it reframed itself to that person at the top of the tree. It's very nice. Search features are built into these things. Okay, well, that's our 30 minutes. Let me see if that was a question, and then we're going to go to the last two things I want to do. Again, this is just an overview. Where do we find, Emily asked, where do we find Binary Basics webinar? So that's a good question, and I'll just jump right to the, so those are the three, well, actually, the next website I was going to show is, these are, I'm going back and forth. These are the websites we get as part of our $40 joining fee, the Team ASEA page, replicating page, and this back office page. The third page the corporate does is ASEA Global, so I'll get to that in a second. But the other thing I wanted to cover briefly is the associate support sites. First of which is A-Team Support, where I'm showing these webinars. So let me go back to the very front of A-Team Support. If you haven't been here, I recommend you do. This is the website that we have built to support the entire team in Crossline and everything. And there's a simple 1, 2, 3 for people getting started. If you haven't looked at these recently, I'd recommend you do, because some cool information in there. And then there's like the top 9 things you want to know when you're first starting. here in these boxes. So yeah, just be familiar with that. What I'm going to go to, though, at this point is events. And you have a choice of live events, which I didn't show you in the back office, but that's a library. Under library, you want to be familiar with your live events. And so let me just click on that real quick. I try to summarize things, and this actually may be one of the most comprehensive summaries, but I might not have everything. You click on them and it brings up flyers, for example. This is a combination of ASEA events, Eventbrite, people on Facebook. I try to get in as much as I can. People send me events. So this is a good summary, but again, it may not be everything. This is only special events, because if people have weekly meetings, I'm not going to keep track of that. But that will be in the back office events page. Okay, so back to the top. Let me go to events again. And let's go to conference calls and webinars, which is a type of event. So now here's where we started at the beginning, if you're on at the beginning. And we are on the Saturday Basics webinars right now. Click on it, it expands, it shows you the schedules coming up. But here are the archives. And sorry, these are kind of jumbled around, but we try to keep all these in one location, for example, in here. But then you have to figure out where they are within here, within this website. Plus, we put in some passwords because some of the items, the way to state this would be, we're not doing anything non-compliant necessarily, but to have things posted on the web that everybody can see. Basically, some of these things you should need approval by ASEA compliance, and that process is kind of it's needed, so that we password protect it, so that we can just be quicker, and we don't have to worry about that compliance. We are compliant, but we don't want to have to go through compliance, if that makes sense. So that's why some of these are password protected. But here they are. So let's go ahead and click on that. ateambasics.com. And there is a login. It's the same login as most of our sites, capital A Associate. So here's A-Team Basics. This is the webinar we're on, A-Team Basics. So details as far as the schedule, I got to update this, but here's the archives. So click on archives, and here they are. So these will be updated as we go, but week one, and in the weeks will change. But here's an older version of Binary Basics. And there's some extra things too. Managing contacts, some people might find that. So I've done some trainings that were useful, and we archive these. Typically, these are 30 minutes. Quick, kind of quick, but not too quick. So there they are. All right. So that's A-Team support. The other one I want to show, and sorry, I'm going to zip through this, and then we'll have questions and answers as needed. I'm going to go to ASEA Global. .com. So let's see if you can see that. So you see at the top here, ASEAglobal.com. And this is a corporate website, and it's a very, very nice website. And we have a webinar. Actually, one of the webinars I should do is the tools. I might work that into the rotation. Mastering the tools, I should do that because we have an update of all the tools. So I'm going to change that, those trainings. Whoops. Wherever it was. And I'm going to work in a mastering the tools because that's important. So where did I go here? There we go. Okay, so ASEA Global is the corporate website. It's a very good website. Let me make it a little bigger. I highly recommend, this is a website we don't necessarily send people to initially for a first look, but it's a very good informational site source for follow-up. And I recommend you be familiar with, under the products, be familiar with the frequently asked questions section. Let me go to that. And here's the reason for these things. So Mastering the Tools webinar, I'm gonna add that to the rotation schedule. But a thing we everybody, all the leaders recommend, you don't want to know everything in your head. You want to use tools. So if somebody asks me, for example, I've heard that there's chlorine in ASEA, or why does it smell like chlorine? Right here under the frequently asked questions, you don't have to give them the answer necessarily. You send them to a tool, and this is the tool. So actually, it's right on the bottle now too. By the way, I think they talk about the chlorine. So lots of questions and answers. Be familiar with these. Use these as to point people to, so they can see that they can do the same thing. They can replicate what you're doing, and point people. They ask about salt. Here we go, right here. So product frequently asked questions. At the bottom is about, further down are questions about Renew 28 on, you can see the summary on the left. So frequently asked questions on the ASEA drink, and then on the Renew 28. Very good information. The other thing I go right to is this. There's a lot of subheadings, but if you just click on this main science heading, a lot of good information again. But if you scroll to the bottom of this page, a lot of people ask for the studies, et cetera, et cetera. Right at the bottom of this page is where the studies are. Where did they go? There they are. So they can download, for example, the new gene summary study. You can download it right here just by clicking on these. These are PDFs. Safety summaries here. Redox verification, validation here, etc. So these are for people who are technical and want more the details. This is where you go, right here. At least one place. There's a couple other places. Okay, I'm going to go back to the top. A lot of good stuff here. News Center. I mean, events. I don't know. Not much. That's not necessarily the best place for events. People who want to learn about the business. Any case, a lot of good follow-up information you can send your prospects to here. And you don't necessarily just send them to the page and say, here, go look at this. You want to send them to a specific thing. So, and do it with them. I mean, you can do it with them on the phone. Say, go to ASEA Global, click on products, click on frequently asked questions, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so I think that's the websites. Let me go back to the questions here. So that officially ends our Saturday Basics webinar. Next week we will be doing, let me just see where I put that. Sorry, not there. Here. So next week we will be doing binary basics. And one of these I'm going to work in Mastering the Tools, probably here, Mastering the Tools. So thanks for attending, and go enjoy your weekends. But if you want to hang on for questions, feel free. So let me look at the chat. Okay, so GG. The binary tree only shows associates. Yeah, it doesn't show customers. Okay, so customer info, again, that's good to ask questions. Let's see. So let's get into that. I think that's it for the questions. So let's go ahead and look at that. 1 second. ASEA Global. So customer info. Okay, so I'm going to click on You can click that X, by the way, to get rid of your menu. I'm going to click on the menu here. And I didn't say this, but you can just get to a lot of these key. Oh, I forgot to mention, I didn't really give an overview of this front page during the training. I normally do, but a lot of useful information on this front page as far as promotions, etc. And in particular, your qualifications. You want to be familiar with this report. I meant to say that earlier. It's on your front page, but at the same time, you can get to it. You can jump to it just by clicking on qualifications here. Definitely want to be familiar with that report. But the one I want to show, I think Gigi it was, is under reports. Maybe, maybe not. So a lot of times I have to search and figure out where things are. I think it's under my business. Order history. So this is the one. So you can do my orders. You can do your retail customer orders. You can do your preferred customer orders. You can change to the period you want. You know, week. Well, actually, not week. So past 30 days or for the all the year, for example. And one thing about these reports generally is you don't normally need to change too many options, but a lot of times you have to click show report. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. Show report. Let's look at customers. I know Darren, whose website I'm in, has a lot of customers. Scroll down. And here they are, lo and behold. Now, this will only be your customers, not your downline's customers. So if you sponsor someone, you won't be seeing them, their customers. It's only your customers, your personal customers. You can click on any of these things here. So here's an invoice. I could click on that underlined. Let me make it a little bigger. You can click on the under, when you hold your mouse over it, it's underlined. You can click on anything that's underlined. Well, it underlines, excuse me. And that would show the actual invoice, the details of what they ordered, and show who ordered it actually. Well, there you go. So that shows a little more detail if you just click this drop down before, without having to open the invoice. You can click these drop downs and get some detail on who, well, you can uncollapse all too. So I could click this. I'm not going to do it because it's personal info. But if I click uncollapse all, it's going to give the detail of each person underneath of it. So very useful report, and you can actually get in and see exactly what they ordered. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. It was perfect. Thank you so much.
And there's a lot more detail. Some of these reports that I get into on the details show how the customer volume is put into your dashboard, et cetera. You know, the general idea is personal customers are not in your left or right leg normally. They're like in the middle. They count for your personal volume. But once you go over 200 personal volume, it does go to your lesser leg. So there's a lot of little detail on this stuff, but you don't have to worry about too much. The main thing you want to know, and actually that's one thing I normally start the webinar with. There's a ton of information, a ton of websites. It can be overwhelming for people who are new. But the basic idea, that's why we have the A-Team support, the basic 1, 2, 3 for getting started. The basic idea is to learn a little bit about the product, enjoy the product yourself, and start sharing it. Like if you see a movie you enjoy and share the movie, people listen and will tend to watch the movie. But in this case, you're going to get supplemented or some pay for sharing that good movie and having people watch it. So let me see. Any other questions? You can also unmute yourself at the phone, little microphone at the bottom left of your screen. Okay, binary tree only shows, yeah, it's a customer. There we go. All right, well, if no other questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. And thanks all for attending. You can unmute everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great.
That's, who am I seeing there? Is that Fred?
Spencer,
Spencer, sorry.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for attending. And have a wonderful weekend. I was trying to unmute everybody. I think I do that under participants. Unmute all.
Thanks, Bob.
All right. Well, very good. Thanks all for attending, and enjoy your weekends. And I guess that's it.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
We're
hi,
moving
Sandy.
along.
Happy Valley. I hear your voice all the time.